great war comes as we know it must. And the government says it's time for every citizen to go and fight to the death.
Hey, Squiddo coming at you with a tactics talk at Replay of the Week, submitted by Bagheera from the clan YOLO. It's Pershing Tier 8 US medium tank. Get started here. Pick this one as a Replay of the Week because it shows a pretty good example, both good and bad, about what you can do as a bottom tier, especially in a medium. It's a Tier 10 game. Lots of very accurate large guns involved, easy to get punished, plus you can note that there's 3 already on each side. So he has decided to go with the idea of going with the majority of the team instead of going over to the weak side. Looked like he was naturally inclined to go to the west, but he's headed over to the east. We'll speed this thing up as he moves over this way. He takes a wide berth. I don't think he really needed to go quite that wide. And as a general idea, I think he's lagging the fight a little more than he needs to be. T-30 dies quickly, so it looks like it was a good idea. So we'll come up here, start looking for shots. Now you'll notice that the 140 has got pretty far up there, not having been hit. He's not lighting anybody on these ridges yet, and this side is usually pretty lightly defended, and he's got tons of backup. I'd have been up there with that Object 140 right now. Now he's being careful, and that's good. That's the good part about running this bottom tier medium in a Tier 10 battle. But with his spotting, he could be doing a lot of good work for him up there. Plus, the Pershing has great gun depression and a pretty decent turret. Reasonable expectation of bouncing things, especially the other mediums. He's going to come up here, take a peek at the 5120. Maybe we can shoot him through a window or something. Doesn't look like we can quite get there. And from there, then I just push down and get up with that 140. You do have to watch out for guys poking over right here. But if you get where the 140 is, up on the side of the hill, they have a hard time hitting you there. And he's got all kinds of help moving up with him, so I just push up there with those guys. And that's what he's doing right here. So we'll speed up as he gets up to the front. And he starts to work into here. He's got the 140, the 122-54 is getting crazy. Rushes in there and hits the Patton. Now we're looking for a shot on the 7-1, and it gets lifted up because if he'd have gone slightly to the left there instead of pushing up into there, then he'd been able to keep the gun depression on the tank. Come over, oh, gotta get there, good shot, dive down to avoid return fire. Nicely done there. And they're about to clean up over here on the east side. So pretty good example of being careful. I would say being slightly too careful. There's probably a couple shots in there you left on the board that you could have got the damage from, but you ended up killing your team ended up killing all the tanks that are over here. Minus the Panzer, WT Panzer IV, which is running away. Now it looks like Bag is going to head over here, speed it up because not much goes on. He's looking for the Arty, I have to assume. More than likely he'd have seen it by now, so there's probably no reason to get right into the corner there. Maybe a little extra time wasted, and now he is looking to use draw distance to just get those guys inside draw distance that are being spotted by the Patton and the 122-54 and see if he can get some shots on them. Good idea right there. I believe that actually hit and penned. That's something you need to have in your bag of tricks. Even if it goes dark, take that shot in there. Obviously, if you have a lit target to take, you might want to shift, but in that case, that's all that was in play, and he took that shot. Maybe shift a little closer to the buildings and look for those shots on the 4005 or any other guys hanging out up on that ridge. It's highly unlikely that there's anybody that close in here or these guys will lit them. So I don't think you really needed to go this far left. Coming up along the ridge here, you probably could have come straight across here. Look, the IS-3's there. So pay attention to where your tanks are and what they're lighting up. You're just kind of droning around back here on this ridge. We'll go chipmunk speed because it takes quite a long time for you to get over here. See, this battle's going on without you. Gun silent, gun silent. taken a couple shots, and we are about 6 minutes into the game, 5.5 minutes into the game. So maybe just a little too careful. Coming in here. Now this is some pretty good stuff here. We've got the T-30. A couple guys taking them on. Unfortunately, the IS-3 dies. T-30 is going to back up. I'd have stopped there. That T-30 was showing all kinds of intent to move back. Rush that shot. You probably could have let that zoomed in a little more. And you're going to take this shot. I believe it actually pins, and I think it says that I have the sound down pretty good. This is something for those of you who haven't seen this before. It's a good lesson. This is the draw range. This guy is lit by the 110E3, but he's outside of bag's draw range. However, his gun line shows him pointing right at it, and when he zoomed in, he knows exactly what the elevation is because he can see it. So that was a very valid shot to take right there. Potentially, had he not driven away earlier, he could have actually gone a little closer and got him within draw range. That may be what he's trying to do right here. He's going to take another blind shot. I think a couple of these hit, maybe one, maybe both. He ends up with about 2,800 damage in this thing. There he is. Excellent. Unfortunately, he goes right behind that building, and he accepts the fact that he's behind that building and shoots into the building. Now he's highlighted again. Just doesn't get reloaded. Man, I just stayed right there because even that little rise that you had right there was probably just enough to get a shot on that T-30 coming in. He actually makes this shot, which is brilliant. And now you're just driving away. So I would say overall, goofing around here was, you got a couple shots in, but I'd have just crossed that bridge and got up in there. If you look across there, that ground rises up a little bit, and it's a great place for a Pershing to use these kind of ridges in here and take some shots into these guys and maybe take some pressure off this T-110E3. If they start shooting or paying attention to you, he might be able to come around and do some work on one of them. Unfortunately, gets the T-30. That's good. But you're about to lose your 110E3. Maybe just lob a shot right there. Who knows? Maybe it actually goes over that ridge and takes him out. And I think you really had a chance to save that 110E3. So we'll go chipmunk speed again because we're going to completely reposition over to the other side. Not my favorite thing that you did. If you take a look at where your tanks are, you get the WT covered in here. They're not crossing this place. You got the 48 over here. He's got eyes on over here. There's nobody with eyes on over here. So if that 50, 51 comes over there, there's no one there. Now, he's probably worried about you because you shot up in there and he's a one-shot. But if they got all together and came this way, if you were up here and spotted them, you already might be able to do some good work. But as it is, you're going to come over here. And chipmunk speed it here because you come up and over looking, being careful, that's fine. Knocking down a tree. I don't think you really needed to do that, but that's fine. And now you're typing, which I wouldn't do at this point in the game. It's a pretty close one. You might just get a fleeting shot. It's really hanging in the balance right here, and you're arguing with somebody via chat. Happens to the best of us, but just try to minimize that kind of stuff. And we're still typing. All right, back into it. Interestingly, the Centurion is going to show up here momentarily. You're in a pretty good spot, though, because you got the Patton and you. That's a little bit of crossfire right there. If anybody does show up, you should have a pretty good time with him. There he is. There's a customer. Nice aim shot. Move a little. He misses. Now he's worried about Artie. He knows he's spotted. He knows you have all kinds of more hit points than he does. And for the life of me, I can't understand why you don't kill him right there. Now that already missed, so good job moving, but right after you fired, I'd have moved right back forward and taken that Centurion out. Look at him, he's turned away, his gun's not even looking at you. Oh, man, missed opportunity right there. So I would say that's a point where your carefulness worked against you big time. If you get up to that building right there and use those bushes right there in front of it, that's a really great spot. Now you're back looking for him, that's fine. And maybe, again, try to lob a shot in there. I'd have just taken that shot right about there. See what happens. And now that he's gone, the Patton dies, and you leave. And I'd have made sure that AX went away. That was just too easy. You got spotted while you moved. Now the thing about this is that they know you're going this way. Once you feel you're dark, probably right about here, I'd have just turned right back around and went and looked for that Centurion. Go up to the top of the hill next to that building up back there and see if you can't find him making a mistake. And really this is about where your carefulness is starting to work against you a little bit. A little bit more aggressive early, probably would have had a few more hit points of damage. You may have taken a hit in there somewhere. A little more aggressiveness on the AX, he'd have been gone. Some more aggressiveness moving up here and helping. You might still have your 110E3, or at least you'd have had it for a little while longer. All of this is going to add up, and there's the AX. So that's no surprise. I mean, you shouldn't be surprised that he showed up there, especially when the last thing he saw was you running away. Good deal. WT got him. Excellent. So now what? Go chipmunk speed, looking that way, and now we're going to head back this way. And not a bad idea. This bush area right here is a good place for spotting. See as they're coming in. See if you can get some spots for your arty, maybe take a couple free shots on them. And they continue chatting. I just ignore them. So what's going to end up happening here is, as we get towards the end, there's only going to be about 500 hit points left on the enemy team. And the difference there is two more shots from you, or keeping that E3 alive for one more shot of 750. Now it's not a direct correlation. Just because they get one more shot doesn't mean you auto win. But you understand what I'm saying? It's a hit point reduction game. And as of right now, you've left several shots on the table you could have tried. There's some positioning choices you made where you could have got more shots that were then left on the table. And there were a couple opportunities to help your buddies out. So their shots left on the table. Now we're going to move up here. And this is interesting because he actually, when he sent his replay in and mentioned how the game went, you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. He spots the FV right there and does not get spotted. So how far is that? It's only about 200 and some change meters. So that is very interesting. It's possible that guy has a dead commander. That would be my only guess right there. Now, if he does, why he would be up there counting on long-range spotting, I don't know. I expected him to get spotted any moment here, but he doesn't. Artie actually tracks the guy, much to your advantage. I would use a little more lead fire right there. You were sort of playing right at him. Fortunately, you've got the muzzle velocity to get that shot. And now we are moving in. So we've got a minute 50. And as I talked about earlier, all of the various things that made you be a little more careful than you should have are starting to snowball into I only have 140 left to make this thing happen. So while it's absolutely true that your carefulness got you to the point where you probably can win this, if you could trade 500 hit points for 500 damage, you would probably take it at this point. Go chipmunk speed. And again, you're going to see that carefulness thing going on here. You're going to kind of peek and back up. Oop, nope, not sure. Okay, going to go. WT, you've got your WT. At this point you're seeing, you've got to just get in there and take that WT out. He fired. Go, 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 go. No, no, no. Oh, jeez. Man, you were committed. You should have just raged at him right there. I mean, you've got to make this thing happen from here. The longer you mess around with him, the longer you give the arty time to either reload or zoom in on you. And now that guy's reloaded. Interestingly, he doesn't take a shot here. Actually, he does, and he bounced. So poor guy. Just keep going, keep moving. Take that guy out. What you could have done there is rammed him and saved your shot for one of these arties. So you got a shot there, shot there. We're going to make it. We got 8 seconds. Maybe one of your arties can help you out. Up and over, up and over. Oh, you just had to go, man. There was no reason to try to bait it. Just sort of lost SA on what was going on there. So if you look at it, they had 550 hit points, as I mentioned. Just a lot of opportunities in there to be just even slightly more aggressive to get some of that damage in there. I think you really had a good chance of winning this game. However, at the other side of it is, it's a good example of careful gameplay in a bottom tier medium and eventually being pretty effective. But I think your team would have liked it a lot better if you'd have been a little more aggressive. All right, man, I hope this helps. Replay of the week. If you like what you see, go ahead and sub. Otherwise, we'll see you later.